Your initial assessment classified us as harmless because we seem physically vulnerable, Reynolds continued. But that vulnerability bred adaptation. We don't fight like predators with natural weapons. We fight like cornered prey with nothing to lose. Merrick's antennae had flattened against his head, an unconscious response to perceived threat. Do you know what makes humans truly dangerous, Ambassador? Reynolds asked, his voice quieter now. It's not our weapons or our technology. It's that we understand fear intimately. We know terror in ways your species never had to learn, and we've spent millennia turning that fear into resolve. Later that evening, Trell composed an urgent message to the Valdorian Council. The classification of humans required immediate revision, not because of their military capability, which remained objectively limited compared to other spacefaring species, but because of something more fundamental. Humans hadn't evolved beyond violence. They had refined it through necessity. They weren't fearless. They had domesticated fear itself, harnessed it, turned it into a tool. The council would debate for weeks about humanity's proper classification. Some argued humans should be restricted, contained. Others saw potential allies if properly approached. In the end, they created an entirely new classification, Classed Paradox Species. The accompanying report contained a direct quote from Lieutenant Reynolds that ultimately shaped all future human-Valdorian relations. The most dangerous creature isn't the one with the sharpest claws or the strongest armor. It's the one that knows what it means to be afraid and decides to stand its ground anyway. The Valdorian Council had unanimously classified humans as a Class C species, intelligent but ultimately harmless. Their report noted humans' fragile bodies, slow reflexes, and primitive technology. Most telling was their apparent lack of natural defenses, no claws, venom, or protective exoskeletons. The Council's conclusion: humans were soft creatures from a soft world. Ambassador Trell found this assessment satisfactory as he prepared for humanity's formal introduction to the galactic community. The diplomatic vessel Eternal Light had been dispatched to Earth with minimal security, just standard protocol for meeting any new species. Ambassador, the human delegation has arrived, his aide Merrick announced, antennae twitching with mild curiosity. Trell straightened his ceremonial robes. Bring them aboard. Let's welcome Earth to civilization. The human delegation consisted of 3 individuals, a political representative, a scientist, and what they called a military attaché, a formality the Valdorians found quaint. The human soldier stood rigidly behind the others, silent and observant. The initial meeting proceeded smoothly. Cultural exchanges were made, basic treaties discussed. Trell found the humans reasonable, somewhat emotional. Their political representative, Director Wilson, spoke eloquently about peace and cooperation. During the 3rd day of negotiations, the incident occurred. A power coupling failed in the ship's central atrium, causing a localized gravity fluctuation. Nothing dangerous, merely inconvenient, but the sudden shift sent a decorative crystal sculpture crashing down near the human delegation. What happened next rewrote the Valdorian understanding of humanity. While the politicians scattered in confusion, the human soldier, Lieutenant Reynolds, moved with startling efficiency. He shoved both diplomats clear of the falling debris, his body positioning precise and deliberate. When the emergency lights activated, revealing the scene, Reynolds stood protectively before his colleagues, stance wide and balanced, eyes scanning methodically for further threats. A fascinating reaction, Merrick observed later in Trell's private chambers, almost as though he expected attack. It was mere instinct, Trell dismissed, though uncertainty edged his voice. Perhaps we should speak with this soldier, Merrick suggested. Learn more about human defensive capabilities. The conversation with Lieutenant Reynolds began casually enough. The human answered questions about Earth's military forces with practiced diplomacy. But Trell, sensing evasion, pressed further. Our preliminary studies suggest humans evolved as prey animals. Trell said, your species lacks natural weapons. How then did you survive to develop technology? Reynolds' expression changed subtly. With respect, Ambassador, your studies are incomplete. Explain. Humans didn't evolve as prey. We're persistence predators. Merrick's translator struggled with the term, but Reynolds continued. Early humans couldn't outfight most predators, so we developed different hunting methods. We would track animals for days, following them until they collapsed from exhaustion. We can't run the fastest, but we can run the longest. Trell's inner eyelids flickered, a sign of mild distress. Yet your military technology seems defensive rather than aggressive. Reynolds smiled thinly. We learned to fear ourselves more than any other predator. The lieutenant described Earth's military history, centuries of humans fighting humans, developing ever more efficient methods of killing, wars that spanned continents, weapons that could level cities. But surely such conflict indicates primitive development, Trell argued. Advanced societies outgrow violence. Reynolds' eyes, those curiously expressive human eyes, hardened slightly. Permission to speak frankly, Ambassador? Trell gestured affirmatively. Your species evolved with natural armor and regenerative capabilities. You never needed to develop our kind of creativity. Humans are soft, yes, so we learned to turn anything into a weapon. To demonstrate, Reynolds picked up a stylus from the table. This could puncture an eye. A chair leg could crush a skull. Even fabric can strangle. He set the stylus down carefully. When everything can kill you, you learn to see danger everywhere. When you have no natural weapons, you make them from whatever's available. The silence that followed felt heavy, oppressive.